All right, hit it. What is up? What is up, everybody? How are we doing? Happy Sunday morning as I wipe sleep out of my eye. Welcome into Husker Hangover. I can't hear myself in the headphones. Now I got a little bit of it. Perfect. That's good right there. Thank you guys so much for joining us after what ended up being an ass whooping by Colorado, 36-14. Lots to unpack, lots to unwrap about the game. Before we get into that, here is just my overview of how things went. If you guys want, wherever you're watching at, if you're watching it at Facebook, if you're watching at YouTube, if you're watching on the Twitter account, wherever you're watching, send your questions in, just type them in. I'll get to them as we go through the day. Tons and tons of things to unpack. Okay. The course is still the course. Our course is different than Colorado's course. Okay. As we went through this and as we were all looking for coaches and things were shaking out and discussions were being had about who's available and who wants the job and who's going to do this and who's going to do that. We made a choice and I'm still good with Rule. Don't get this twisted. Okay. I'm just trying to put some logic behind or maybe manage expectation of how that this is going to go. Deion Sanders had a plan to immediately turn Colorado around. People weren't sure what they wanted to think about that and if it was even possible because they'd never seen anybody do it. Never seen anybody come in, flip a roster, 80 different people, 157 different people on the roster, how it was going to go, how it was going to happen, what it was going to be like. Okay. And he did it. And he knows what he's doing. He knows how to operate with kids. And some of those he's coached since they were very, very young. It's the benefit of being in a talent-rich area. You got your own team. You got your own organization. You got your own program. Youth football, high school football, college football, 1 year transfer to a bigger program. And away you go. So that's a choice they made. Our choice was a different choice. It was a more Nebraska choice. It was a more conservative choice. It's a plan that's going to take longer because the flip isn't going to be immediate. The flip isn't going to be something that takes care of, boom, tomorrow we're flipping this roster. We're going to get 85 people. That's not the way it's going to go for Nebraska. Now, when we get into the discussions of Jimmys and Joes and X's and O's, you saw what immediate influx of a bunch of Jimmys can do and Joes. But they're running an organization out there now that practices the way it does and it gets after it, and there's an expectation. There is no hesitation to be cautious in coaching. And I think that plagues a lot of people in athletics these days. I really do. The luxury Deion created for himself was bringing in 80 new guys that are talented. And he said to them, hey, I'm going to coach you hard. And if you go through this and you don't like it, guess what? I got somebody waiting for your job. I got somebody that can take that job from you. Nebraska on a talent basis doesn't have that luxury. I don't think they kowtow to anybody. But when it all breaks down, it's going to take longer for this rebuild at Nebraska than anyone had hoped. Now, to get down to the brass tacks of it, should you have lost? Should you be 0-2 right now? Is probably the best question. No, you should not be. You should be at worst 1-1 in this. But you're not. Shot yourself in the foot, still packed your steel-toe boots. That's WD3s is in it. WBD3 is in it for firing already. We're firing people already. One of those two games, coffee's for closers. No coffee handed out. You got to win one of those first two games. I think now that we watch this, the possibility to win both of them was right there. It was there for you to take. And I know that's going to sound crazy when we look at the final score of the Colorado game. The way your defense played, and then if we remember last year, I said it quite a few times. If I was on the defense at the University of Nebraska, I would walk around, I would punch people in the face. I would punch offensive players right in the face. Right square in the nose, jaw, whatever area you want. You deserved it. Because as light as you are on depth, you play impressively. Like Nebraska's defense does impressive things. They don't have a ton of defensive linemen. Like they're not four deep on the defensive line where you can just rotate guys through and they're all, but tell you what, they get after it. It was tough to watch a side of the ball that had given such a great effort that to see then altitude and fatigue and those kind of things were just for the quantity of snaps that they played, just for the quantity that they had to be out there on the field. Mental breakdown, at the beginning of the half. It's a good play call by former Kent State head coach, offensive coordinator for Colorado. And not to get real jargony, but they ran a double post setup where they cleared out all the safeties, and the one safety that was kind of had to stay and help for the drag across the field, he had got nervous on the double post on the other side, and then he didn't favor his side of the field. It's a fatigue, it's a mental you want that one back. But man, did they battle. I mean, they battled play in, play out, snap after snap after snap. They were an impressive group, and they should be applauded for what they've done. Special teams doesn't cost you anything, and it's organized, and they do things well, and they're close, to blocking a couple kicks, but those two phases of the game aren't in your way. They're not causing you issue. Then you get to the offense. And the offense just, at times, it looks great. And at other times, it looks like a hot mess. Questions that I have. If you have a player, and I know it's a team game, if you have a player that is causing issue for you on the field, you've got to be able to pull the trigger. You have no problem doing it with Anthony Grant, right? You say he does this, he does that. We'll pull him out of the game. Sean says the system is echoing. Cam says no, Sean. Sorry. It might be wind in the background. I can kick some of these fans off. You've got to be able to pull the trigger. If you don't trust, and we come to find out later that Chubba Purdy was a little banged up. That's why he wasn't in the game earlier. Heinrich Harburg, I guess obviously they don't trust him. So if that room is that light, that again falls under something that should have been addressed long ago. You've had time to get that done. You've had time to get those things handled. Your play on the offensive line, moves have to be made. Just straight up, moves have to be made. You've given everybody 2 games of opportunity, and you've had flashes of what looks like a great setup. And then you've had flashes that look like it was done by someone in high school. That's the honest truth of it. There's guys in there that The effort is there. The execution is not. And I don't think that I have an unrealistic expectation of it. Like, I don't think that it's wicked over the top to be able to find 5 to 7 guys. No worries, Shawnee. 5 to 7 guys that know 6 to 8 plays, and they run them really well. And they've seen him against every defense, and they've seen him against slant, and they've seen him against basically everything. I do not understand some of the things that aren't corrected. And it's puzzling to me to watch it. But again, on that side of the ball, I didn't see a whole lot of substitution on that side of it. Where did that come from? Right? Where did that like what's good for the organization? And what's the worst thing that can happen? Get the sub in, and if it goes the same, okay, now we know we're shitty on this level too. But if you go in and the lights come on and the kid plays well, and you're like, okay, we found a player. We found somebody that wants to be in this environment, wants to be in this setup, and wants to go. Change has to be made. Now, the adults in the situation too, the offensive coordinator, after you snap the ball into your own motion guy. Okay, so Nebraska's in a setup. I don't remember the down distance. And we'll go through this. Quarter by quarter. I've got notes for all the quarters. It's just my overall view of what kind of went on. Once you snap the ball into your own motion man, you bring a lot of questions into play for me. Okay. Have you repped this enough where this is muscle memory to you? If your answer to that is yes, then how in the hell in the game does this happen? Okay. It tells me that the guy you have calling the signals, calling the go, is not a made for TV moment guy. He's not a guy, because take Ewers from last night, Texas kid. I hate it. I hate that I said it out loud. I apologize, everybody. You can blast me in the comments. Calm, cool, collected, never under duress, had everything. Our guy, we're looking at like, man, this snap is hitting him in the hands. I hope he catches it. I hope he catches the ball. Think about that. I hope he catches the ball. But then we run motion. We hit our own guy in motion. Then we go double down on it later. And I'm not saying you got to go out of motion, but you got to at least get to the kid and say, hey, make sure he's clear of you to not distract you, because obviously it is a problem. Run another one a little later. You can see him. Motion guy comes through, calls a snap almost at the same time. He flinches, ball drops. Like, that can never happen. Shirt of the day, RTFB. You can use whatever word you want for that one. I got one I use. But we'll say football. You know what word I want to use here. Right now, Nebraska's bet is to run what would be a single wing. Just run a single wing. And tell Sims you're going to run this thing about 28, 29 times a game. You're going to give it to Irvin. You're going to, the odds of it, and pack the box. Go ahead. The only way we're going to run this is when we start to see multiple plays in a row, safety creeping down. And we are going to ball fake, throw it over the top. That's what that's what it's going to be. And you can win with that. You really can. I think you eliminate a lot of strain. Everybody in the comments getting after Corcoran in the comments. If you get it where he's not having to go in reverse, meaning pass sets, and you get him to go forward, I think you got a better chance. I really do. We'll go over to catch some comments here quick. Cam Peterson says Grant didn't play yesterday. It was because of fumbles. If so, why was Sims playing? Why didn't NU play 11? Why didn't NU 11 play in the second half? In the first half, 11's on fire. That's the thing. Defensively, I tell you what, you got some dudes. You got some young guys that can play. I don't know if I didn't see anything that Lionheart had been hurt. I think that's his name, Lionheart. Can't answer. But I'm with you on the Grant thing. And maybe it's, oh man, and team Casey Thompson. Team Casey Thompson is all over it today. All over it. Morning, Freddie. They are all over. Why did we let him go? Why did this? I do feel it's just me in retrospect. Like, I understood at the time when they said, hey, you're probably going to want to transfer out because X, Y, and Z. And I get it. Start your own identity, be your own setup. Don't want to necessarily. But I do also believe in saying, hey, here's where we're at. Okay. Word on the street is Casey, you're not a huge fan to run the ball in our offense. You know, we got to have the quarterback run the ball. And he may answer to you, yeah, I'm here to do whatever we need to do to win. I don't know. This maybe was said behind closed doors. But when you get dead set locked in on one guy, which it kind of feels that's what it was when Sims came into the mix, that makes it tough. Like, that makes it hard to do. Would it go different with Casey? I don't know. I think so. I mean, you scored 7 points on a long run, and then you scored late in garbage time. We will never know. But now looking at, yeah, I mean, you catch a snap. He could catch a snap from under center. John's with us today. John was traveling last week. And John says, if Corcoran is still the guy at left tackle, would Nebraska be better off playing only 10 on offense, knowing that they will have to account for not having a left tackle? John, not a fan of Corcoran. You got to get Teddy P healthy, and you got to throw him down to the guard spot where he can bounce bodies. In space, he's going to struggle. Against speed, he's going to struggle. It's just a deal that with Teddy being hurt, he is where he is for that reason. He's got to be there because they've got to cover. You know, they need that. They don't have that other guy. They don't have the one that can take that. They don't have the one that can make that play. They don't have right now. Have they started to assess it? Yeah. Like, I'm fine too. Like, I know they're going to redshirt some young linemen. I wouldn't. Well, there's a couple because they're still very up in the air. And maybe though we have a different perspective on it. Like, Donovan should have the same perspective as we do because he's seen it from last year. He's seen the mental breakdown, the missed responsibility, the physical breakdown. Like, he's seen all that stuff. Offense should have come out fresh as a daisy because they had plenty of rest. You've got to try somebody else at left guard. You have to. The center does a good job, probably your best lineman. The left side is problematic. They have to get better. They have to become better at the game mentally Physically, it's going to be the hard part of it. But mentally, they have to get after it, and they have to know what they are doing. Walter and John are both on the Satterfield must exit. I would not bank on that. Walter's going today. All right, BJ says, is Sims salvageable as a QB1 or a lost cause? Boy, there's a lot that has to happen. And if by salvageable you mean serviceable, yes. If he is salvageable to be serviceable, yes. The game plan is there. Run it. And the only time that you have an opportunity to throw it is off of play action. Like, I'm talking football. And let's be honest with ourselves. Like I heard a great runner. Like I heard, and I didn't watch a lot of Georgia Tech football. I apologize for that. I didn't see a whole bunch of that. But there's times in the open field where watching at home, it's like, okay, we're in space now. Let's create. Let's do something. Let's see the shift. Let's see the shake. Let's see the twitch. Let's see it. And it becomes a directional, slow angle toward the sideline tackle and falling down. And so I'm like, hey, dude, like the touchdown he had a nice little shimmy at the line of scrimmage, got in the open field, just ran away from everybody. Cool. That ain't going to happen all the time. Again, simplification of it. Satterfield has got to. I think we just had two guys become best friends in the comments. I think Walt and John are now the best of friends. Get it down and simplified to just X amount of plays. Now, Nebraska did have a crucial drop, hit 84 in the hands on what I think would have been a third down conversion. That was unfortunate, but that happened, right? That's the way that went. Yes, I think you can salvage it where he's serviceable. But simplification, sweet alliteration by me there. Simplification has to be key. It's 6 to 8 plays. Every pass we're going to throw is off play action. And hopefully we get some safeties that bite, and then we can chuck it, and the guy is relatively open. The Fedone one makes good decision. He's rolling, but you've got to know where that safety is, or you've got to throw that ball earlier. Fedone is open. You just got to get gone. Safety just rolled right with you. I mean, he rolled, and as soon he started to break before you let the ball go. He knew you were locked in on that. He knew you were going there. He knew that pass was happening. And that's never the best. Sean says, after watching other games last night and seeing so many other teams that have quarterbacks that can deliver the ball to receivers efficiently and on time, why don't we have that? We get back to what we opened the show with. It's how you construct it, right? How you want to. Dion playing with a little bit of a pat hand, right? He knows what his kid can do, and his kid is good. Like, his kid is way good. Little things. I made a note of it. I think it was third quarter. Maybe it was fourth quarter. Maybe it was before half. There's a time where Sims and the clock's kind of running down and probably need to get out of the situation. Scrambles, gets out. Shedeur Sanders in that scenario would have fallen down. Kept the clock moving. Sims went out of bounds, stopped the clock. I think it was before half. They had to punt back. It's just like, hey, man, those seconds are valuable. Like, know the situation, know the room, fall down. Take the time. Like, you get into the discussion of this. And I think you saw it last night if you watched the Alabama game. There are quarterbacks and there are athletes who play quarterback. I think Jeff Sims is an athlete that plays quarterback. I think Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback, a very good quarterback. He watches, he knows, he reads the defense. They were eerily patient. And I thought the way it was going, I said, okay, this is what I've wanted to see in 2 games of Deion Sanders' coaching career. Can you get them uncomfortable? Can you get them where like all of their stuff isn't working and they stayed the course? Like they just stayed the course. It's coached, it's taught, it's believed. And the believed is the hard part. It's coached that way. They're taught that way. It's believed that it will come. Just be patient. We'll wear this down. Eerily reminiscent of 30 some odd years ago. Why is Osborne running short side option? Why is Osborne running short side option? Why is Osborne running short side option? Oh, they scored. Oh, they scored again. Oh, they scored again. They stay the course in it, right? They were poised, man. I mean, it was impressive. And you got to tip your cap. Realize what it is. We don't have to like it. We can hate it, and we can comment about it, and Deion's this and Deion's that, and this, blah, 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 blah. He told you what he was going to do. He told you he was going to flip that roster. He told you he was going to bring in all those people. I mean, here's what it is. He did it. He's still doing it. So it is what it is. Walter says since 2004, Nebraska's total combined turnover margin is minus 105. About 19 years, you're minus 105. Value the ball. I mean, that's an easy thing. You can tell the football does not have a value. Shotgun snap, hit your hands, you catch it. Like those are day one. I don't know the rub people are sending me notes on. People are sending me notes on messages here that what is the issue with Harvard? I have no idea. If you want to hit me up at verse51, you can also hit me up there at Husker Hangover on the Twitter. Don't forget to go to Dear Old Nebraska, UDEAROLENEBRASKA, the letter U.com if you want to get any shirts that remember times of long ago. Hey, thank you guys all that ordered for last week, too. That's very cool of you. I appreciate you. This rebuild for Nebraska is going to be different. They're not flipping the roster immediately. The way it looks now, they're probably going to have to flip for 2 more years. And you're going to see more guys go out, and you're going to see more guys come in. It just sucks. I mean, multiple ways now. There's people that come at this in the camp like, oh, we could have had Deion, we could have had this. This could be us. Very true. Well, not very. Okay. Rumor had said so. You don't know if it would have grabbed the way it grabbed here. Colorado is more desperate than we are. Colorado didn't have the money to pay. They believed in it, found a way. We chose to go a different direction. Now, if we're still having this discussion here in a couple years, then yeah, we made the wrong move. We did not do correctly. You have opportunity here coming up. You've got to get right, and you've got to get right fast. Just some notes from the game. I won't give you all the language that I use in those notes. First quarter, things are going well. I believe it was the first drive, maybe second drive. They're driving. It's going good. Somehow, play gets in late. We call timeout. And I'm thinking, okay, we're calling timeout. Here we go. This is going to be a cool play. This is going to be something. Maybe we run. Maybe we hit the first trick play of the game because they're doing whatever. We call timeout to run a toss. Like, we didn't call timeout to run some kind of exotic, like, hey, look off the safety and then throw it over here. It's going to be wide open. We call timeout to run a toss. If you can't get tossed, like called into the game, and by toss, I mean just turn around and toss the running back the ball. Toss. And it got, I think it got stuffed. I'll be honest, I got real pissed when they called timeout, and I was like, okay, sweet, here we go. This could be some kind of boot action, and then you sneak the tight end somewhere where they kind of forgot about him, and we, boom, get the pass. Here we go. All right. No, ran toss. Steel toe boots. You know, you got false starts. You got false starts during the game. The unsportsmanlike conduct on the sideline, that one, I mean, I get it, you know. It's a little looser out there, but that unsportsmanlike conduct on the sidelines was not an unsportsmanlike conduct. But that, you know, you're in a battle, right? And it's to me, early in that game, after the way it had gone, I was like, okay, if our offense can just, we're going to be okay. Like, we're going to muddy this thing up. We're going to make it real ugly. And we're just going to kind of slap at it. And maybe we can get them to break. And maybe we can get them to go downhill. And then we can just kind of wear this thing down and go and go and go. And then that fell apart. And so I'm just like, man, why? Like, why? Just have a lot of whys sometimes. That's why I don't. There were some folks in watching the game, I was a little more irritable than normal when we watched it. Second quarter, first note that I had says too cute crap. Like, when you have a QB that is not the best at deciphering coverage, and then you got motions flying around and all this BS, sometimes the window dressing isn't worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, as one of my friends says. So it's sometimes you just got to line up and tell your guys, hey, we're doing this. You don't need somebody going left to right, right to left, across it. I get it. You're trying to decipher if you're in man, if you're in zone, who's got who, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But when your signal caller can't grasp that concept, make it earlier. Like make it happen in a different manner. Or when it distracts him. Maybe grasp the concept wasn't the best phrasing. But when it distracts him. Motion coming across, distracts him, drop snaps. Like, that's happened. Leave that out. Missed field goal, unfortunate. You know, Alvano had it lined up. Hit the post. They probably greased that post, I'm going to be honest. Bounces back into the field of play. No points on the board. By the time it got to the end, would it have affected the outcome? No. But would have liked to see him get off to a good start in that game. Maybe change some play calls later where you could get yourself down the field and start to take advantage of that. QB fumble, again, no need for the motion. Just let it be. The defense, time in and time out, saved the day for Nebraska. As bad as it got late when they got worn out, could have been worse. Like, it really could have been. It could have been worse. It was unfortunate that Nebraska, you know, right before half, they had the coverage breakdown. They're going to have one, though. Colorado had them in the game, and we took advantage of a couple. But breakdowns are going to happen. That just, it's where we are with it. Unfortunate. and Colorado had the great play call. They had the play call correctly, and they were able to get that. Other second quarter notes, 6-6. We got a penalty. We got an unsportsmanlike penalty. And then the quarterback needed to go down in bounds. It just, man, I mean, and I was kind of running around, and I didn't catch the replay. Did you watch the game at all, Iowa guy? Before half.
Yeah, I did.
Did we ice? We tried to ice the kicker. And
missed
missed the first one.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what we'll all say the way our luck goes. If you have a history of icing the kicker, ice him. If you don't, you don't. I don't. People are asking me a bunch of that. We'll go back to the questions and comments. Wesley says, good to see you in Howells this morning. Shout out to the good people of Howells. GT, let Sims go for a reason. Now, if his strength is his legs are comprised with a high ankle sprain, he might have a problem. True. I would say if I'm a betting man, which I am, I would probably bet Harburg starts this week. High ankle sprains are pain. High ankle sprains are a pain unless you really want to get in and let's be honest, you're going to get at the needle. If you want to get it on the needle, then you're good. Way back in the day, John says, Twitty's Northwestern team beat FCS Drake in OT yesterday on the road. That's impressive for an NAIA team. Twitty's other school, Iowa Western one also. Well, Twitty's out in Utah. Sean Kelly's channel says Sims is not a QB. He's an athlete playing QB. Someone needs to have a Billy Bean and Ron Washington come to Lincoln to tell him he's not a QB anymore. I think that's a Moneyball reference. It's pretty well done there. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. You saw it glaringly last night in a much higher profile game. Alabama's quarterback is a crazy, crazy, crazy good athlete. But when your best bet is the AFG, you know what AFG is?
I don't.
Okay. Call whatever formation you want. You get in there and you call AFG. It's all fucking go. Everybody takes off down the field, run as fast and as far as you can. I'm going to chuck it down there.
I assume that's what the F meant.
Yep.
Because it always means that.
That's their best. No, this one means football, wherever it is. I get that backwards. That's their best play, Alabama. Like, that's their best pass play. You have an athlete at quarterback. You don't have a quarterback. We currently have an athlete at quarterback. Now, it is not the end of the world, okay? You have got to tailor what you do, and I can't stress this enough. Offensive coordinator guy. Tailor the offense to the strengths of what you have. You have an offensive line that in a drop back setup, it is not their best bet. So, focus game plan on controlling line of scrimmage, okay? Boys, here's what we're going to do. Listen, if you see any old players, okay, old linemen, we're easy to find and we don't move real fast. Okay, you'll see a lot of us just take a good angle, you'll cut us off. We can't really get away from anybody except Zadiska, John Zadiska. He's all lean. Just say, hey, explain to me 47 dive pass, 2 delay flat. Okay? And teams still run this to this day. When you could get control of the outside corner, right? So you're just able to run, it's a wide zone, we're running it. And then the call will come in the huddle. Hey, boys, 47 dive pass, 2 delay flat. You're like, hell yeah, here we go. This is about to be embarrassing for you guys. Okay? We had no responsibility blocking. No, we did, but it was loose. Your job was to pull, and mind you, our numbering system from left to right went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We didn't have odd and even. So that's how we numbered it. So every single person on the offensive line would just pull one man to the right. And so the defense is like, oh my God, this is outside zone going to the offense's right, our left. Fake the handoff, tight end goes 1, 2, 3, and just takes a left turn. and he's standing out in the flat by himself. You can do these things, but you have to get control of your offense. Like, you have to get control of line of scrimmage. You have to have those things happen. And play action pass. I understand the game is different now, but I also understand what you have. You have to tailor. You have to make it fit what you've got. You've got a running QB. You've got good running backs. I thought Ramir looked great. By the way, can we stop picking on that kid and just put him in the freaking game? Seriously. Like I don't know what he does off the field. I don't know. If the world wasn't so like uppity, I would make a great joke there, but it would get put on the interweb, and then they'd say I said this about the kid. I'm not going to say it. But get him involved in it. Kemp is another guy. Get him more involved in it off of play action. You have to be able to control at least one phase of their defense. Can you run the ball consistently? And even if it looks like just a zone read where Sims is watching a defensive end, you can still run that 2 lay flat. You can do all those things. But enough with the 5-step drop. The 2-step drop. Enough with the drop, period. It's not a skill set. Not yet. Maybe you can get more reps in practice. Maybe you can learn it. Maybe we'll have a light bulb moment one day. It hasn't happened thus far in his career. So I don't know why you continue to bang your head against the wall 2 games into this. I know it's 2 games in. But once they know, they ran a fantastic play, and then they went away from it. Okay, we're going to start from the right side of the line, go to the left. You have double team, so we've cleared out a room to a linebacker by the right tackle, right guard, center, and left guard. Blocking, getting movement. It's awesome. You have your H-back / fullback over here. He is beelining across the formation to kick out the defensive end. They slid it through with the running back. Got positive yards. I think he got 6-8 yards. It's a great play. Then he did it again, and it worked again. And then he did it a couple more times. I'm like, okay, you are now in 3rd and 4. What is your complement to the play you're having success with? I don't know what you call it. These kids can obviously execute it. There's a ton of things you can do off of it. What is your complement to it? And what do? Snap it, 5-step, throw it, incomplete, punt. Okay? Here's my compliment to it. I get the same look. Like, here you go, Buffs. She coming right up the old chute. I'm just going to cram her in. Go through. Everybody does everything the exact same. Okay? My H-back, he goes, and he misses. And now he's standing in the flat by himself. So now if you're playing zone, that corner has to come up and cover him. And I'm going to drag my other guy just across the middle. And he should be able to get all the way across the field. And I can hit him. But I'll tell you this, dollars to donuts, if that running back carries out his fake, and actually I'll put him in the route. He just takes a ball fake handoff and he just keeps trucking down the sidelines and just runs. Just run as fast as you can. We might hit you on a little pseudo wheel route. So for those at home, if we go this way with one, and now I got to go this way with the other, that's just, you're running a wheel. He's just going to run outside like that if we're going that way, or he goes that way. Now you got everything covered, right? So we run that thing on a wheel. So now we've got the defense in conflict. I can dump this thing to the flat to my fullback and get a first down. It's awesome. It's a play you are successful with. Now run the counters off of it, okay? The next time through, I'm going to give him the same look, okay? I'm going to tell my quarterback, hey, buddy, if that end on that side really chases this hard and doesn't come touch you, which we've seen he's not coming to address you, you keep it. Keep it and just take off. So I've got one successful play that's created at least 2 more plays that have a chance for me to show them something different, but keep them honest. Like, the plays got to get in a rhythm. That play is good. They are good at that play. and then you don't use it enough. Or what happens with a lot of OCs is they'll run it, it'll get stuffed once, never back, never run it again. Okay, it was one time. It was one time. Run it again. Switch it up. Run it to the left. Look at us go. We changed it up. But that's kind of what it will be to me. Patrick asked, what will it take to bench Sims? Hold him accountable. That's, like I said, if you're going with what was done to Grant, the question is fair to ask. And Nebraska media asked the question, why is he not being held to the same standard as Anthony Grant? Very fair. John says Nebraska had Colorado uncomfortable to start the game, and then Nebraska started gifting Colorado success. That is why they got comfortable. Fair. It's a fair point. Man, that was, God bless. Middle second quarter, I'm like, man, this is ugly, and it's awesome. It is. We are zeros. And the floodgate. Oof. As we continue on, keep them coming, boys. Sitting on the bench shows the coach has the team's best interest in mind. The bench has a way of focusing one's mind. Do you think the NIL money has something to do with the decisions? I don't. And if it does, we got a big problem. A bigger problem than anybody could ever fathom. A bigger problem than is even comprehensible. They can't. I would be more worried about it. Great question, Wesley. I would be more worried about it if we were good. Like we were top end. And I was like, well, that guy, we're good, but that guy right there, he's kind of struggling a little bit. I wonder why they're not pulling him out. And if somebody would have said, oh, well, because of this, because Big Booster XYZ said this is that. That would be my issue. In the comments, we are firing everybody. So just a heads up. RP says it's 2 games in, but there are some concerning things that we're seeing. My assistant coaches who should be on the notice to collect unemployment. Does Rule have the stones to fire guys? Yep, he does. 2 games in, everybody kind of figured out everybody. Colorado got 80 guys in. We had, I think it was 55 or so things that should have been taken care of in camp as far as cohesion, those things maybe are a little further behind than some thought. And you're not going to know that. I was a big fan of how they practice. Like, they practice intensely, and I think you can see it more on the defensive side of the ball. I'm guessing now if I went back to a practice, defense probably loves going to practice because they're shit kicking all day. They really are. They're probably having a blast. Offense probably isn't having as much fun. If it gets to it, yes. Because I think as he assesses how they will have success, he knows right now they can't have a position group or a side of the ball lag behind. And I do think as much as he's been around the game and as much as he's been a part of turning things around, I think he'll get it figured out. And I don't think he would hesitate to remove somebody. Can you imagine if Dion had come to Lincoln and just basically like pink slipped everybody? So here you go. Here's yours. Here's yours. Here's yours. See you later. Because remember at the time we were all, oh my God. He said, you guys were bad. I can't win with you. You didn't win. You won 1 game. Why would I want you here? I think 9 of them like stuck it out. I was like, I'm going to show this guy. Can you imagine Lincoln? I mean, Lincoln would have had him. Oh, can't believe he said that. I can't believe he did that.
Have you seen those Photoshop things of Dion where he's wearing a red shirt and a Husker hat?
No.
And it's like, how much would it take to make this happen? It was right after the game. It's like, yeah, we could do that.
I'm not in that camp. I'm not there with it. And I get it. We so desperately want to win. We need to win. It really messes with people's psyche. Right, wrong, or indifferent. But again, look at the schedule. As we talked early in the season, I was going through it and I thought, hey, get 6-6. You watch Illinois, they ain't exactly a world beater. And maybe old little buddy that was the D coordinator that went over to Purdue was a little more valuable to the scenario than I had thought, because they looked like a different team. They did not look like the Illinois that I remembered, and was not allowed to go to the Illinois coaches convention just to see their offensive or their offensive line coach go through drills. I got told no. Like, hey, can I come attend this thing? They're like, no. I was like, why not? Like, you got to join the Illinois coaches, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, I'll do that. Like, you don't coach in Illinois. I said, I could. Like, I could coach somebody. I could run up there, take a flight, and coach somebody real quick. Private lesson. Let me in then? Like, no, you can't get in. Not even mad about it. And my guy, Brian Vidalic, I think he's out. BB's out in Kearney now. Back from the good old days at Pizza Inn, Grand Island, Little League football. Morning verse rule doesn't sit. Number 7, what does it say about the accountability talk? Thank God the Blacksters are legit. Can't wait for USC to smoke Colorado. Smoke might be aggressive. The over, and you should be excited to bet the over in that game, because it might be 99 to 104. Like, that's where you want to be on that. Yes, I do think he will. I don't know. We got to get in our Nick Dancy quote for the opportunity for advancement. Heinrich Harburg needs to go in and sit down with whoever the quarterback coach is, if it's Satterfield, if it's Rule, if it's whomever, say, hey, why are you still resistant to put me in the game? I'm guessing he knows that. That's me being over dramatic. And whatever that is, I would just solely after practice work on that. And I beg young receivers, old receivers, hey, if it's throwing, can you guys stay out here with me? I got to get these throws in. I got to get this timing. And hey, trainers, can you throw blocking dummies at me so it feels like I got a mudded up pocket? Am I bad at the read? Okay. What leads to my read? I've got to be able to field the ball clean. I look that. I know that in their cues, it's a 2-step. He steps 2 steps inside. I got to go. Okay. He's got to take onus in that. If Chuba Purdy is hurt, then now you really have an opportunity to progress on and like be the guy. Because if you go in and you move the offense and you score points, you're going to be set. If you go in and you motivate, right? I think that's an interesting part too. Like when you see a quarterback, okay, and they go in and they command presence in the huddle, like they are vocal. They are not necessarily chewing everybody out, but they're in there. And you got a QB. Go be that guy. Go say, hey, freak out all the linemen. Freak them all out. Hey, I handed off the ball. I know that this outside linebacker made that play. And our blocking scheme, that outside linebacker is your responsibility. Why isn't he blocked? Why don't you have that? What's your deal, man? Those kind of things. Quarterbacks, like really good quarterbacks, know that. Hey, man, you got to get that guy. Yeah, I know. I apologize. Very sorry. No, it's more just like, yeah, fucking trying. He runs 4.2. I don't. And then when they get real smart, they'll be like, hey, take a better angle. It's like, thanks, asshat. That never crossed my mind. Yeah, you got me. But be that guy that commands presence there. Like when you get reps, take them over. Take every single rep over and just go. But again, leadership. Like leadership is something we've lacked for quite a while. Back to Sean Kelly's challenge. He says, I think this year with this offense, it may not matter who's QB. They're a blackjack offense. Get to 21 and you win. I like that one, Sean. I like that one. Now, if you can tell me how to get to 21, like I was at 17. I was like, get to 17. Cam's boys counter went up. I think they should take 7 points off that. I think he should only got 13 points. Farron's son has when you're raising money, they got one of those thermometer readers, and he's got to get like 25 points a game. And they got 20 against Iowa State, and 7 of those were defensive touchdowns. Those shouldn't count. But then the other side is like, those should count double just to keep little buddy there, just to keep him on staff. I like it, though. And if you look at your schedule outside of Michigan, problem. But you can get that to 21. If you can get there, now you change the course. Now things are different. Now you get, but anything forward. Help me out with this. Answer me in the questions. Do you feel that offense is ever really in rhythm? I got fatter than normal this offseason. I got to drop some weight. Do you feel that offense ever had a rhythm, right? Where it was just clicking. Like, okay, they ran this. Now this makes sense. They did this. Now this makes sense. Because then my follow-up question to you, because you know I hold you guys in very high regard, my follow-up to it is the lack of rhythm paranoia of the talent you have executing what you've got? Jeez. Or is it just you're trying to just run plays? Good play callers getting a rhythm. Things actually like fly around. Yeah. John brings up a good point. They all stayed in the dorm for 5 days. How can there not be cohesion? That's a good point. Touche. Well done, Johnny. Doc says, I'm not buying the slow build BS. Every year Nebraska doesn't make bowl. That's another year 2 or 3 teams past Nebraska. Buying it's clear as day. Doc, hit me back. Why don't you buy the slow build BS? I know what you're saying. Like as we don't get to bowls, we get passed by. But I mean, my thought this year is they're 6-6 and they go to a bowl. I'm just saying the overnight, like Dion has been able to accomplish, and there may only be 2 or 3 people in coaching that would be able to go do that. He being one of them. I just meant we're not going to be in the overnight camp. We're not going to turn that thing around overnight. That isn't what we were built to do. But yes, we need to get to a bowl game immediately. Very, very fast. Rusty asked Verge, will the false start penalties ever disappear? It's so basic. It's physical conditioning, mental acumen. Like mentally, I know my job. Physically, I'm in shape to do this. And we just can't seem to do it. We can't seem to pull it off. I've beaten my head over and over again, and I don't get it. I can't comprehend it. Maybe they don't bike ladies back out in the parking lot. God. They have to. I mean, and obviously the penalty for that, for doing it, isn't enough to deter it from happening. You know, you got to make that. You got to make that bet. Johnny boy, we have not talked about the roughing the punter. There she goes. I'd call. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to think of that one anymore. We got full-blown conversations going on here. All right, John says no rhythm. They can't buy a vowel, and we know why. Man, it just, like, I didn't know, and good buddy Damon had said, hey, the offensive coordinator is the wild card. I said, really? I said, I thought you would go with the defense on that. By the way, defensive staff, head to toe, needs a raise. Like, needs a raise. Needs more money. Because what they're able to accomplish, I'm excited to see what, when they get out and they get the recruits they want. I'm going to rephrase that. When they get the recruits they come with, then you're good to go. Like that's what needs to happen. Like those dudes are going to be okay. Those dudes are going to be fine. So it's a deal. Man, that's just, and the thing that gets me with this, okay? The thing that gets me with this is the way Nebraska's roster was set up. It was such a good move to play this 3-3-5 defense. And I know people were apprehensive, like, oh, shit, this is going to suck. It's not going to hold up. It may not hold up against Michigan, but not a lot of people are going to hold up against Michigan. And don't want to hear the bad words. We're not in Michigan's camp right now. We are not even in their neighborhood. We are not in their jurisdiction. Nowhere near that. And that's okay. But if you go out and you throw everything you have at, literally the kitchen sink, at them, and see what happens and see where you stand. And then when you continue to get more and more depth and you get more and more players, and then you realize, hey, this defense is pretty viable. It gets a lot of speed on the field, and we can fly around and we can make these plays and we can do this. Like, that was such a great maneuver. I don't know when you went to the offensive side of the ball and you're looking for your coordinator, what you could base a strength on how you wanted to hire on. Okay. The DB room had 19 guys on scholarship. The defensive back room at Nebraska, when they inherited this program, had 19 guys on scholarship. Okay. We got a lot of money committed here. We got to figure out a defense that can get more of these dudes on the field. You two big ones, you're going down to outside backer. 5 more of you are going to play. We got 7 of 19 on the field. Kind of bring that thing back into balance. Still a little out of whack, but hey. Now, my next conversation is any of you guys that ain't playing, have you ever played receiver? Have you ever played receiver? Because we need you guys on the offensive side of the ball for a little bit. You may not be there forever, but we need you to play it right now. But the offensive side of it, I don't know what you could have based it on. Casey Thompson, maybe at QB, and tailor it. I understand their logic in saying, hey, we need a fresh start. We need our guy in here, air quote. I get it. But if you look at me, like, man, this kid can really sling it. Like, he can sling the rock. Can we tailor an offense where, even if it's out of an I formation, where we under center, we take the snap, we run downhill real hard, and we get him the rock. Like, we give it to Irvin. We do have an H. Maybe we can go 2 tight ends. We seem to have 2 decent tight ends. We do 2 tight end setups that are going to be our running formations. And then Casey can sit there and he can look, and then we play action pass with that. Like, the assessment of the offense and what you were going to be, to me, was much, much harder. Like, much harder. And now when the receiver room, and everybody will say, well, that's all we recruit is receivers, but those receivers haven't panned out. You know, that just is what it is. Jason asked, what about, or here's back to back. They're all kind of Sims. We get a lot of Sims questions. What about Sims' lack of urgency to recover his fumble? Man, amen. And doing too much. Like you fumbled, fall on the ball. Just fall on it. You ain't picking it up and going 99. Just get on the ball. The ball is far more important than you making a Sports Center highlight because you ain't making any of them. And then Jason, which we've talked about quite a bit, will Sims be held accountable like Grant? Rule said even the best players are held accountable. 100%. You've got to have those guys held accountable. Because if your players feel that, oh, QB gets special treatment, he's not held like me, that's a crack in the foundation you built. Legit. Offensive line is probably another one. You've got guys that aren't operating well. You've got to be able to look at them and say, hey, just try a different option. I'm an Evans Jenkins guy. Where's 5-1? Put him in the game. Put him in at guard or move Ben Scott to guard and put, I think that's his name, Ben Scott. Put Evans Jenkins at center. It's got good feet. It's got real good feet. Jay Foreman is texting me. We'll see if we can get Foreman on the game.
He's ready and waiting.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, man, our first guest of the year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to bring to the stage the one, the only, Jay Foreman. Jay, how we doing, baby?
What's up, man?
Hey, dude, you were out there, yeah?
Yeah, I was.
Hey, guess what? On the internet, you can cuss. You can say shit. Fuck.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you can keep it formal.
How many of those swear words have you used?
Today?
Yeah, describing the game.
What do you think that F stands for in this shirt?
Yeah, I know what that means. Run the fucking ball. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, it was it's just more of the same, I guess. Right now, they're stuck on, stuck in the mud a little bit. Everybody's gonna bang on the offense, and rightfully so. I mean, you got 8 turnovers in eight quarters. Mm-hmm. Defense has played pretty well, but the special teams played like booty yesterday. They kicked the ball like garbage. But ultimately, you have to find a common ground and find something that works. And sometimes that it does take a while. And I'm not making excuses for Jeff Sims. I mean, what he's doing right now is not even close to playing college Division I football. Period. But I will say this: it does take a little time and I mean, I know they have had all off season, and and they had a tricky situation to where you got to, they had a lot of turnover. I mean, everybody wanted to, shoot arrows at Colorado for their turnover. I mean, Nebraska had 39 new guys right from the beginning. Technically Colorado only told 20 guys to get the packing. The other 40 or so quit.
Those two, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Nebraska had guys that quit, they would be gone as well. It's just so happened that it was such a shock to them that they quit. And so you're going through here, you're trying to change the culture, which I always felt like coming in as a coach, you're in a better situation here because of the work that was done by Mickey Joseph and that kind of staff before to start off on the right foot, right? So, but then when you're doing that, sometimes you kind of, miss on, okay, well, what can this kid really do? What can he really do versus what he says he wants to do? And sometimes when you're in the off season, things look good. Like a ball on the ground isn't as big a deal. Missing a tight end wide open or, not in the right spot, when it's not on time or on target, it's not that big of a deal. But sometimes those things kind of, amplify and multiply. And then you get out there in the big stage and, when you really need to execute and play the position of quarterback. And sometimes I think the art of playing quarterback is definitely, minimized. And what I mean is just doing the simple stuff, right? I mean, right now we're at the point of catching the snap, going through your first or second read, catching the snap, timing on when you send the guy in motion, when you don't send the guy in motion. Those are things that you don't see in star rankings. Those are things that you don't talk about in the offseason. Those are things that are the details of playing quarterback that are very, very important, right? So that quick kind of
there's a difference in an athlete playing quarterback and
right.
a quarterback.
Well, I mean, really, it's a byproduct of what kids do in this 7-on-7 or like in club football.
Yep.
7-on-7 isn't that bad because I think like Warren Academy and those guys, they teach them concepts, so that's why you see a lot of his quarterbacks all the way back to Easton Stick. He's in the professional ranks right now, and I'm sure Cole Payton, Zane Flores, all those guys they're ready to go to kind of go to the next level. But when you see a lot of these club football teams and high school teams too, right? It's just a byproduct where they just take the best athlete, put you at quarterback, let you run around, do your thing, put highlights on Instagram or YouTube. All of a sudden, you're really good. Well, there's still about there's about another 25% of guys that actually learn how to play quarterback. And you wonder why when you get out there in the big stage, you don't know how to play. Your footwork's sloppy. And if your footwork's sloppy and your feet are slow, that means your mind is going to be slow as far as reading, your keys. And so, I felt for the most part, especially in the first half, the game plan was good, right? I loved the 12-13 personnel.
Yep.
I would even like to see
Tell everybody what you're calling 13 personnel.
What? Oh, 12 or 13 personnel is one back, 2 tight ends.
There we go.
13 is 1 back, 3 tight ends, or 3 blockers. I mean, heck, I would even like to see 13 personnel with Borkature, Teddy Prohaska, and Jenkins as the 2 other tight ends. Yeah. Like, here we go, and then put your best wide receiver out there one-on-one, right? Yep. And so it gives you some, Borkature kind of gives you a little bit like fullback in the flat. Obviously, you're not going to pass to those 2. You're probably running 90% of the time.
Yep.
But if you can run some kind of hide motion, or cross, motion the receiver, then you can kind of create some, confusion. You can run some bootlegs off a bit. But ultimately, that first half game plan was pretty good. Now, where it turns into, from sugar to shit is when you have the turnover, right? And then next thing you know, going from down 3 to down 10.
Yep.
And then you run out of bounds as a quarterback when they only have 1 timeout left. They get the ball back, get a big play. Now it was home cooking when they started the clock, but that's what you expect when you're on the road to Colorado, right? And so, Colorado made a crucial mistake by throwing the ball and got tackled in bounds, kicked the field goal. You go from it's a 10-point swing, right? It's actually a 13-point swing because we missed a field goal ourselves, right? Yep. Hit the upright. So so now you go, instead of going in, say the worst, I don't know what, 10 points down or set, like 6, down 6 or 9 points, you're down, 13. And then you come on the second half, which is commendable, that defense, stop them, get the 57-yard touchdown, right? So now you got a little bit of the momentum of the game. You feel like the defense had done a good job against that offense all 3 quarters.
Buddy, them tackling in open space was a clinic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what they did was keep everything in front of them, and they were getting enough kind of secondary pressure. And I call secondary pressure of when the quarterback goes from the second or third read.
Yeah.
Getting pressure on them, forcing them out. They had timely blitzes, right? And they were blitzing time, and they were physical, right? And, Luke Reimer ran the running back over, got on him. So they were getting him off the spots and getting Colorado off the rhythm. Well, then we get the ball back. We turn the dang thing over again, or give up a big play, right? Or we gave up a big play. Now we're down, 20-7 or whatever on the over route, right? Where he caught it and there were 6 guys watching him. And so that's the little thing as part of the defense. You just got to have some more, figure it out percentage, and you got to expect Colorado to make some adjustments. So then they got rolling. And then when you're down by that much, you got to pass more. And then, the rest is history. Then you got an interception. Then you got so forth and so on. And
it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate right before half because the defense had played so well.
Right.
And I think that's when the touchdown where they ran the 2 posts and then they slid the guy across in the back.
Yeah.
That middle safety.
You got to come down on that, man.
Right?
You got to come down on it.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is when that was one of the times where they got zero rush,
Yep.
and so earlier they're getting rush,
Yep.
so they're not able to get to the routes, right?
Yeah.
Then they have to break them off and go into scramble drill.
Yep.
Well, this time they didn't, and so when you kind of playing that soft zone and playing everything top down, right,
Mhm.
and letting it declare, it works when you're getting a little bit of rush, but when you didn't, you got guys just covering grass, and so ultimately, what people need to understand, the defense can play good enough and play winning football in every game. I've been on teams like this before. You know what I mean? In particular, when I was down in Houston, um, you can play top 10 defense or whatever, but college football has changed so much that doesn't matter who you're playing. They're gonna have good enough coaches to scheme up to score
Yep.
points. So that's what you saw yesterday. The more chances that they get, the less pressure that they're under, right? The way that the Colorado offense played with the game tight is different than when they had a 10-point lead, 13-point lead. And then the defense of Colorado, then you play right into their hands, right?
Yep.
You can't really come out in 13 personnel being down by 17 points.
Yep.
Right? It'd be just it'd be non-existent, right? You really wouldn't do anything. You're not even getting back into the game.
You as a defender, okay, and I'm meathead offensive guy. They had a lot of success bringing what they were calling their fullback across the formation, kick in the end, good wash down by the right sideline scrimmage. They were able to crease that a few times. How many times can you go back to that well offensively without running a counter to it, meaning just running that play? Because there's tons of counters you can run off of that. That would then.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things. You can do play action. You can do bootlegs on it. One of the best bootlegs he had, where I think the end crashed down. Thought it was such a, he was playing run so much. Jeff Sims got on the edge. I'd run that until they stop it. And there's different ways to run that same exact play. If you want a good example of a team that does that in NFL football, is the San Francisco 49ers. They'll just come with different personnel, different motions, and when the play is snapped, it's the same play that they burnt people on earlier. So, that's a good opportunity for Nebraska to look on that. But, ultimately, as this season goes on, I mean, you got to look, there's no more foregone conclusion after yesterday that, we can beat Northwestern. There's no more foregone conclusion that we can beat Purdue.
Yeah.
So now it's time, and the pressure is of essence that we have to find a way. First of all, you got to check on the health of Jeff Sims, see where he's at, and then formulate a game plan of Jeff Sims at 80% and whoever else, at whatever percent. I mean, Chuba Purdy's hurt. I mean, so then, it's Heinrich Harburg. And so, but can you get through the Northern Illinois game, pounding the rock, short control passing game? They beat Boston College, their first week, and lost to Southern Illinois yesterday, but they threw for 300 yards and played good defense, but they obviously had a plethora of turnovers, and it was just an ugly game. So they're going to come in here trying to get their ship righted. So it's not going to be easy, but it's a game that we should be definitely favored in, regardless of who's taking the ball under the center. And so you saw, I felt like for the lineman positions, I'm just thinking right now, for the lineman's positions, I think they played pretty decent, right?
Yep.
There's a glaring guard position that needs to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. Come on, man. I mean, look.
Yeah.
We cannot do this at this point in your career, in your tenure.
Nope.
Because I felt like the offensive line did a pretty good job. I do. But when you're fighting with one hand behind your back, you can't expect them to take on every blitz and be in situations where, Kelly, their defensive coordinator, can scheme up stuff and take away with what you've done well, or you take away by yourself by not being in the game. So, and plus you're giving them turnovers. You're giving it. Look, when a defense is getting freebies, they all of a sudden start to become more physical, and then the game, and then they're turning those turnovers into points. And so, I've seen some growth in the offensive line overall. we need to see when there's a guy or two, there's a one guy, or and his backup didn't look really good either, but they need to get it going.
Do you
Because
put in
because
some of the younger guys? Like you have 4 games with your freshmen. Like, do you throw the Sledge kid in, see what he's got? Do you
yeah,
move Scott or Evans Jenkins to that guard spot?
you gotta probably look at everything, but the
Yeah.
continuity of 4 guys is pretty dang good. Um,
Where are you at on
so
Corcoran? Like, Corcoran is getting destroyed in my comments today.
well, I think people were looking at that first game, which wasn't him. I felt like the 2 sacks he gave up, the guard was day late and a dollar short on his inside help.
Had a full slab of ribs on that spin
Yeah,
move. I mean, you could have sent that guy to the hospital.
yeah, he would have never done,
Oh,
he would have never done that spin move again. So
man.
he's done okay. I just think with Turner, he came. He had that one game in COVID. For Hymus. And then everybody the same thing that happens at Nebraska every year. Somebody gets out there, they anoint him. They anointed him, the starting, the next Zach Wiegert, for the next 4 years, or whoever was our best offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, Teddy Prohaska came, and the next thing you know, he's Jonathan Ogden. Let them develop, man. These dudes don't even need to play, ideally, freshmen, unless they are a dude. And if
Yeah.
you're a real dude, not one that's made up in your mind, chances are you're probably going to be only here 3 years like Dominic Raiola, and we haven't had a Dominic Raiola come through here. So, I put the Sledge kid in there. Obviously, he's done the 2 deep for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Let's see what you got. But I wouldn't just throw him in there for a series or 2. I'm going to put him in there and see
It's a game.
and get
Put him
some
in for the
game
game.
reps, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
or 50%.
Because he's going to need the speed of it in a real game is going to baffle him at first.
Yeah, it's gonna take
Like,
him a little while, right? It's gonna
it's
take him. So you got to be strategic about it. You don't want to lose his confidence and stuff
yeah.
like that. But then also you don't want to put him in there and he's so young, he doesn't have the ability to recover. So
Yeah, I got a question.
It's a catch-22.
I got a question for you from Sean here in the comments. What is our offensive concept? Power football or shotgun spread? Can't do both. Additionally, nothing seems to play off one another. No rhyme or reason to place me. And I'm in that camp. Like, rhythmically, there's not a lot of rhythm to plays in that. You don't establish something, then run a complement off of it.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to do. I mean that's the part where you have to do, where you got to get under wraps on who you got working, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's one thing to say that to be at practice and he looks good, but the reality is the only thing that people care about is what's happening on Saturday. The one thing I did like, Verz, and I said this multiple times, when you're dealing with Colorado's defense, it doesn't matter the personnel that you came in with, right? 12, 13 personnel, 11 personnel. I like 4 or 5 wides and no running backs, because then that takes the guesswork out of Jeff Sims, right?
Okay.
And it allows him to do what he does best, which is run the ball. And it creates a softer box. It creates a more advantageous offensive line shell to block. Now, we had it one time and the guard got smoked by a tilted nose. I've never seen that before. With a tilted nose, you can ear hole him.
Yep.
And literally punch him down to the center can overtake, and then you can go clean up the guy that's rushing against the tackle. Well, the guard swam, or the nose tackle, or whatever, the one technique, 2-eye, right off the bat, beat Piper, and then you're in the face. So
Laid off the ball.
Yeah. And but I like that for Sims. If I get, I wouldn't mind them doing that for one series, right? Because you can have 5 wides out with a tight end on the line of scrimmage, running back motion back in, and then hit him with a zone run, right? Or you could hit him with a speed option, or you can hit him with short area passing game. If you go back to no, I like a series like that. I think the continuity needs to be, conceptually wise, more continuous, right?
Gotcha.
1 or 2 plays with the same type of concept, same type of personnel. I mean, going from speed option to shotgun to under the center is just not that we're first of all, we're not good enough to do that, right? We're not astute enough in football to do that. overall as a team. We don't have enough experience with each other. But I think that it's probably one of the things they need to probably really look at it. But like I said, I think the first half was called magnificent. I think the second half panicked a little bit, and went away from the 12-13 personnel. And weirdly enough, Verge, the 12 and 13 personnel opened up things for Billy Kemp.
Man.
And so that was good to see. But then,
look for him in the second half, though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you sometimes you can get caught up in the. Well, first of all, dude, you got a quarterback ain't go. Yeah, I mean, he ain't holding on to the ball, dog. In the motion, you hitting each other. We look like the Bopsy twins out there.
Bad news bears of football.
Dude running her over like it's the butt fumble. So,
the one that got me was when they motioned across, the ball snapped. It didn't hit the motion guy, but the motion guy distracted him from catching the ball.
Yeah, well, that motion after the first time,
never run it again.
At least not yesterday.
Nope.
Just because look, some plays just don't mesh up right in the game.
Yeah.
That's fine. And so I think that hurt a little bit. But then also when you have a quarterback that's struggling, it's hard to keep feeding guys. Everybody's like, oh, why didn't Gabe Urban, get more carries? Well, dude, you're down. We needed this game to be tight. 6-point lead, 6-point deficit, 10-point deficit at most. Once you start getting over there in those big, low to mid to high double digits, we're in trouble. And then that's where Colorado was able to crank up their blitz package, and that's where we kind of lost our way a little bit and just went downhill. And it was ended up being 30. It was it was 36-14, but that was a 36-7 game.
Yeah,
they gave us 7 points. And then I will say this for Jeff Sims' credit, right? It was a huge part of the game where they were trying to get back into the game, passing. Great call by Satterfield. Kind of like ran a two-man concept.
Mm-hmm.
Bullets wide open, easy first down. It was 3rd and long, right in the hands, dropped it.
Yep.
Can't do that.
Got to make plays.
I even think in the first half, I think Fedoni's good enough that you got to make that catch one-on-one in the first half.
Yeah.
He dropped it. Yeah, he dropped that. So
yep.
Those are things that they need to get better at. And then once they do that, they they'll be okay.
Especially the deal too, like to get your quarterback confidence, right? He knows it's not going well. He knows things are not going according to plan. Like you got to be there for him as much as he's trying to get you the ball.
Hey, well, look, man. You say you want the ball, and you say you're going to the league and all that. Those are the catches you got to make if you're trying to play against Jay Foreman on Sundays. And Alex Bullock, you wide open. You got to make that. Period. Number one, that's what you're on scholarship for. Number two, in Jeff Sims' defense, those are 2 passes, legit passes, right? Yeah. That were on the money. They were on time and on target.
Yep.
So for him trying to get some confidence, it's one thing to now. Granted, Jeff Sims is 100% about the fumbles, especially the one he watched. Okay, that's replication of Cam Newton in the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos. That's a little bit of history for you. Watch the fumble. The fumbles and stuff is on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But to his defense, though, right? He obviously had done something different in a positive way, along with Satterfield in the play calling, to have 2 balls on the money. Now, granted, Fedoni's catch it was a harder catch, but you could have.
If you're that guy, you make that catch.
I think you should have caught it.
Yeah.
Right. Bullock, you have got to catch that.
Yeah.
For no other reason to earn your respect, continue to earn your respect on the team. You are uncovered, wide open. Pitching and catching the ball. Those are 2 plays. That gives your quarterback a ton of confidence. It changes the way you call the plays. It changes the concept of the game, or it changes the momentum of the game. That's one's the first half play, one's the second half play. We didn't make enough plays when we needed to, and then it spiraled downhill. So if we made the plays that we need to, I think the game is a lot different. Even if we end up on a losing side of the game, we just didn't make any plays to keep the pressure on them. We made plays early, in the run game and continue passing game. And then, Billy Kemp, heck, versus we drove the ball all the way down there, right? And we fumbled a snap.
Yep.
Fumble. We drive literally just walking the ball down the field. And
it's impressive.
Right. We're doing whatever we want.
Mm-hmm.
Borkature getting his, Billy Kemp getting his, Roswell, Gabe Irvin doing his. Anybody and everybody was eating. And then we fumbled a snap, and then we try to pick it up with one hand. See, those are the little things that you have to remedy in like 48 hours.
Yep.
It can't go anymore because you eliminate those things, the wins will come. Yeah, it'll be harder. Yeah, and all this other stuff. But they got to get it together. And they got to figure out where Sims' health is. Continue along the improvement of the defense. Defense has to understand, this last game's over. Everybody's telling you play good, but you still got smoked out for 400 yards passing, right? Yep. It's feast or famine, but that's the type of offense that you're going to play, right? They're going to give you chances to get after the quarterback. They gave up 5 sacks against TCU. They gave up 9 sacks against us.
We had 8 sacks.
8 sacks with the deep routes that they run.
Yeah.
And what we were doing blitzing wise, this is right on par. So we got to keep it up.
But they averaged 1.8 yards a rush.
Yeah, they're not rushing.
Yeah,
they're not running. Yeah.
And
they're not,
to me, the altitude, like after so many series of just like, okay, we're out for about 45 seconds, the defense is going to get worn.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have the depth to stay in there that long. Here's a question I have for you. If Teddy P gets healthy and you move Corcoran to guard, your outlook then on the season for Nebraska being able to accomplish things offensively. And you put Teddy P at left, you put Corcoran at left guard.
Yeah, I think it might help. I think it'd be more natural positions. I felt like Corcoran played better at guard last year.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a coach and I don't know. I'm just going off of my,
what your eyes see.
Yeah. So hey, we'll see. But everybody's, your best ability, your availability, the pressure is on. There's no reason to run from it. You guys need to step up, man. Right now. And so look, they got time to look. It's still, if they can come out of these first 4 games 2-2, not where they want to be, but it's better than being 0-4 or 1-3. So, that's got to be the goal. 2-2, and then we got a big test in Michigan, and then we got to then you should know really where you're at and what you kind of need going and coming out of that bye week to really make a run and trying to get to a bowl game.
When you found out Illinois isn't all that everybody thought they were going to be cracked up to be, so you got that.
Yeah. Illinois has been struggling. But then also you also see Purdue is kind of up and down, right? So you got to catch them on a downswing. Michigan State's got some stuff going on internally, with their head coach, which is weird though. That whole thing is just like, how do you even get on a phone call? Then all of a sudden, like that wasn't it, right? Did you how did he get your cell phone? That's another Husker hangover for another day, but.
That might be an off-air conversation,
right? Yeah, but so there's gettable games, but even the gettable games, the Northwestern, Purdue, the Michigan States, the Maryland, right? Even Wisconsin, they're gettable games, but we will not get any of those games if we continue to turn the ball over 4 times in a game,
and you continue to beat yourself with penalty, like an untimely penalty. When it's so unnecessary that like that's just mental focus. Like
right.
You are not focused on the task at hand.
Right. It's okay. It's like almost like they're in the huddle and they're like, Vrzal got a penalty. Okay, it's my turn. No, dude. You better get that together. And I know early in the season sometimes that rears its ugly head. And I'm gonna tell you this. Nebraska's not getting the benefit of the doubt from any team. And I'm going to tell you this, and before I go reverse, and it's from personal experience. We played a game. I was in Houston. We played Buffalo. And a guy from Buffalo was talking junk all day. He dropped a big 3rd down play. I ran past him and said one thing, right? This is after he had been talking to me probably for like 20 seconds as I was like kind of like walking, jogging off the field. They get me for a sportsmanlike conduct, 15
yards.
15 yards. Okay, that's fine. Everybody's mad. I'm mad because like, you got okay, and they always say the second guy gets caught, right? Kind of like with Teddy P and pushing Travis Hunter. So 2 or 3 plays later, now I'm hot, man, and I'm fuming. So I blow through the line of scrimmage. Travis Henry's going. So Travis Henry is about 5'8", 220 pounds. So I'm coming to hit him and wrap him up, and he dips his head. So I kind of almost go like kind of slide over him, but then I throw my arm back to catch him or to get him, and it goes on his back collar, right? On his
Horse collar.
It goes on. I grab him by the Henry, and it was, I guess, by the since it's anywhere up there, it's a horse collar.
Yeah.
Again, another one, right? 2 plays later, we have a safety that's been in the league. He busts cover 4, bang 8, touchdown. Everybody's booing, right? So, then I'm mad at myself, mad at everything or whatever. But I stand up and do the press conference or whatever. So we're playing next week in Cleveland, and I got a good hit on Tim Couch, and I'm just running down, chasing the ball, and he like gets in my face or whatever, and nothing happened. So obviously it's in the scouting report. Let's see if we can draw a penalty on this guy, right? Yeah, and that's not even how I was rolling, right?
Yeah.
And so then we play the next week, and a ref, I forget, I see it. He used to ref like our practices, back when we were in college.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know, like when you get those penalties that you had, he's like refs are looking to throw it on you, so you got to be careful for the next 3 or 4 weeks." So with that being said, when you think about Nebraska, with the amount of penalties that they've had, right, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt when you're a 3-9 outfit, 4-8 outfit, 0-2, and then also they look at, you have a quarterback that's turning the ball over with this much rate. You deserve these penalties, whether these refs want to say it or not. That's how it happens.
Yep.
And so Nebraska has to, and you can't complain about it. You have to fight your way out of it, and you also have to execute your way out of it. And that's the only way you're going to get out of this funk, is by doing what you need to do.
Hey, you think it goes the other way too, that they're scared to call holding against Colorado because of Dion?
I don't know if it's
There's some blatant holds in that game.
Yeah, I don't know if they're scared to call it. I just think they get the benefit of the doubt. They're a better coach team. They're a more exciting team. I mean, if you think these refs don't watch ESPN and all that stuff, and then they come and ref, you were silly. So it's not like they're on jury duty where you can't, you got to be locked in and not be able to go outside. So I think they get the benefit of the doubt.
Hey, before you go, I know you got to run, and thank you for coming on. John wants to know about little buddy behind you there.
Oh yeah, Reggie, the Black Santa, man. That's picked him up at Walgreens, man. Look at him. Every time I get on, I'm bringing Christmas gifts for you guys all year long. Dropping some knowledge.
He wants to know why you hate Halloween and Thanksgiving, though.
He wants to what?
He wants to know why you hate Halloween and Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. I don't hate Halloween.
Not your favorite.
Not my favorite. I don't like the 4th of July. I like because of the fireworks.
Are you scared of fireworks?
Not scared. I just don't like them.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just you and Reggie rolling 24/7, 365.
Yeah, man. If he doesn't have any flexibility, his legs don't bend, or else I'd have him rolling shotgun.
You need to get him. You need to get him an arm that moves and just like high five him every now and then.
I know, right? Yeah, I gotta bring him in there, man. I gotta bring him out in public and stuff, man. He's earned his P's and Q's.
Do not put Reggie in the car and start driving down the interstate. They will have you pulled over.
I'm about to put him in there. I wish I could get him in there, man. I might do that and then go Facebook Live, X Live on the way down to a game. We're going to watch our first game, me and Reggie.
Please, you take him into the stadium too, please.
Yeah,
take him into the stadium.
That's what they need. That's what they need to dap up with.
Yeah,
yeah.
You may be a new trend. The horseshoe may be gone. Everybody might be dabbing up Reggie.
That's right. The one and only, man. Let's do it, man. All right, man. I'm about to get me some rest.
I appreciate you.
All right, dude.
See you, Reggie.
Yeah.
All right. Jay Foreman, always good to hear from Jay. Yeah, tons of insight there. But if you the common theme of all the guys that have watched a lot of football is sometimes you just have to do the basic stuff. Like, we're making things far too complex. Now, you have Northern Illinois. Do not take Northern Illinois lightly, okay? You are literally now at a point of the season where every game from here on out is a coin toss. And you should take it as such, okay? Ultimate focus, prepared for everything. Make some moves in the offensive line, okay? Make some moves. The ones you're doing right now, the mistakes that happen are at crucial times of the game when they cannot happen. Jay brought up great points. The first half game plan was great. It really was. But the minute with this team you're down by double digits, and I know that's a fine line to walk, but pressure busts pipes or makes diamonds, right? Handle that pressure. Take that pressure and accept it and go with it and move with it. You can do this. It's not a hard game. You have talent there, but you've got to call games to accentuate what your talent has, what your talent can do. Get Teddy P right. Put Teddy P at left tackle. Put Corcoran at left guard. And now you hopefully can clean up some of your issues that you're having. Offensive lines are awesome when all five work together. Sprinkle in the tight end, call it 5.5. When those go well, that's when it's right. Okay. You can't go 4 of 5 are right. It just doesn't happen. You've given opportunity. It isn't working. We've got to move on, and we've got to make sure that you get that line secured. If that line gets secure, now some of your coin tosses, they don't move a lot, but instead of 50-50, it might be 60-40 your way. And now you just got to go compete. Like, get in the game and compete. The only one you're outclassed in from here on out, okay? No word of a lie. The only one you're outclassed in is Michigan. One team we're playing has a counter for their coach to score points. Like it's not like they're world beaters. Everything you still want to accomplish is directly in front of you. You can take care of all of this if you clean up some minor things. The way your defense plays, you are in every game. We'll call them Damon Benning games. Can you get to 21? Because if you can get to 21, I don't think there's many people that are going to score. You ain't getting any shootouts. Now, the defense is bound to have a bad day. That could be Northern Illinois. The law of averages says there's got to be a bad day coming. It just tells you this is what's going to happen. It's what's going to go. Okay? Can your offense pick you up? It's going to happen. Prepare for it and hope that offense is right on that day. Hope that the offensive line now has 5 guys operating in unison instead of 4. If that's position moves, that's different guys playing. We'll see how they react. Okay? We'll see how the coaching staff reacts with an injury at a crucial position for them. And maybe it's just a blessing in disguise. And I don't hope Jeff Sims is hurt. High ankle sprains are a pain in the ass. They linger forever. Okay? If you do have to sit him, okay? If you do have to sit him down, if you got to sit him, tailor your game plan for Harburg to succeed. Keep it simple. Keep it play action pass. Keep it basic. And just impose your will on somebody. That's all you're really looking to do. That's all you want to have happen. Okay? And you can do that. You can make those things happen. You can make that all work. It can all go that way. It really, really can. Has the season started well? No. Not even in the slightest. But what's done is done. You're done with those games. Wash them, put them away, and get ready to go to work. Win 2. in a row. Build yourself some momentum. And you might just trick yourself into thinking, hey, we can do this. Your brain is a crazy, crazy thing. But when it starts to believe in what you're doing and maybe a couple subtle changes lead to that, then who knows what happens from there. You found out some other teams aren't what you thought they were. Illinois is nowhere near what they thought they were. Michigan State, shocker, has another scandal arising. Northwestern has its own issues. Purdue has its own issues. Like, it's all just a big dysfunctional family here in the middle. So go out and take control of it. Go out and believe in what your coaches are doing for you. Coaches, get them in a position where they think they can beat the world. For one half of football, you played really well. Unfortunately, football is a two-half game. So now you've got to figure out, hey, offensively, what can we do to keep their offense off of the field? Because our defense needs a break. Colorado did it to us. They had a 14-play drive to score. 14 plays. You tackled some of the best athletes you're going to see all year, one-on-one. That was an impressive thing. Were there a couple breakdowns later? Yeah. Yep. There are. But overall, that defense gave a hell of an effort. They did a hell of a job. They really, really did. They earned everything that they got. Depth and altitude factored in. It's going to when you have that many snaps. They want to grind you into the ground. They were able to do that. You've got to get it to now where you're the one that grinds an opponent into the ground. And you can do that. You have the people to do that. My good buddy Eric Buckner says a little late to the party this morning, so maybe it was talked about already. But did we disrespect Deion, Deion's son, Colorado, before the game? What did Rule say about Deion? Was it just to fire up the team? Many people have said that was just BS. I think Rule just kind of tongue-in-cheek had said about kind of how the two comparisons are going or how the two turnarounds are going. They're doing it their way, and they're getting immediate results. But that's – I don't think he said anything personally to him. Fans, when you go on their field, or teams, when you go on their field and you stand on their logo, they're going to get pissed. And it's okay if you piss them off. It really is. But when you get there, you better back it up. Your ass better be ready to cash that check because you're writing it. And they see it, and they're not going to like it. You better be ready to go. You better be ready to go. PNC King says, for some reason, I'm enjoying this Nebraska grief content. Hey, buddy, it's been here for years. It's therapy for everybody. This is our Sunday morning therapy session. My good buddy John Peterson, whose son is out at UCLA, probably should be a tight end at Nebraska, but we're working on that. So National Beast Huntmacher's done well. Ty Robinson's done well. I mean, they're doing their best they can to rotate those guys through. They really are. We're having a Grand Island reunion in the comments, so if you're not at 308 or just keep scrolling. That would be my theme for this week. Make some subtle moves to make your team better. Opportunity has been given in two big-time games that you needed really bad. And it didn't work. It didn't happen. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Not saying you can't still use the players that you're going to possibly replace. Put them in their 13 package, right? One running back, three bigger guys. Put them in there. Tell them, hey, we need you to do this. You're going in on goal line as a second fullback. We're going straight ahead out of I formation. This is your role now on our team. And I think that role would be accepted. I really do. But you got to make some moves now, okay? It's that time of the year. It's that time of the season. Those things have to happen. Because this is big boy football. Jobs are on the line. And I don't want to hear a Nebraska fan having to talk about another buyout because I don't think it's going to happen. Yes, you've lost 2. That is a fact. Those 2 are over. You have 10 more to go. Get yourself to 3-3 in the first half of the thing. And then get yourself, very hopefully, to 4-2 in the back half. Okay? Then the stories write themselves. All of the national media. Oh, my God, Nebraska got off to this rough start. They did this, they did that, they did this. Look at what Matt Vrzal and his staff have been able to accomplish. Look at what they've been able to do. They resurrected the ship, and they won 6 out of their last 10. They won 7 out of the last 10. Not saying it's going to happen, but do that. Take it game by game. You have Northern Illinois next. They are not to be taken lightly. They can jump up and bite you. Okay? They can throw it. They can run physical. They can get down however you want to get down. But take advantage of the situation. Take advantage of the opportunity. Simplify again. Simplify playbook. 6 to 8 plays. We can run them against anything. We can run them really well. All of our passes are off of play action. We're going to get Fedoni open off of play action. We're going to ball fake. He's going to block for a little bit. He's going to slide out in there. Right in the middle hole. He's going to catch the ball. Bullock next week, wide open, a huge part of the game. When that ball hits his hands, it's caught. And then see if Sims, if he is in, see if his confidence goes up. Or if you got the young guy Harburg in, see if he can just complete a pass in the flat real quick. Build his confidence. All these things are very doable. Everything is right in front of you to still accomplish. You have had a horrible start. No one wanted this start anywhere, ever. You've let games go. You had a game to win in the first one. You played well for half in the second one. You lost them both. Get ready to roll the next week. Pick yourself up. Go on a heater. See what happens. As always, thank you guys so much for joining us. I have to get over to football meeting. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you guys as always. Don't forget to go to Dear Old Nebraska, DearOleNebraskau.com. I put it in the comments there. You can get the J. Foreman Boom Shakalaka shirt. There'll be more coming. It's just a little fun website. It's not very corporate. We try to keep it more funny than anything. I would appreciate anything that you do on there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thanks to Cam Broham for producing this bad boy. He will be out next week, so it may be a little wonky. I'm going to try to do this on my own because he's got a wedding.
It's the Wild West.
And then the next week he's got an anniversary. The backdrop will be different because we will be in my office trying to accomplish this. So bear with us next week. We'll try to get Aaron Taylor on. We'll try to see what Fat Hoss is doing. And I'm sure Jay Foreman will come back and join us. Thanks a lot to Jay, as always, for stopping into Husker Hangover. Appreciate all you guys. Love you guys. Have a great Sunday, and we will catch you next week. Matt Vrzal out.